Hey, everybody, it is time for the Bronx Buzz. This is BronxNet's program where we talk to all kinds of people in the Bronx, get into who they are, what they're about, and what they're working on. And this evening, it's true, one of my friends, somebody who really does amazing work in the Bronx, and that is my buddy Laura Levine-Pinedo, who is the executive director of KRVC, which is the Kingsbridge-Riverdale-Van Cortlandt Development Association. Nice to see you, Laura. How are you?
Hi, Gary. How are you today?
I'm okay, just working hard, doing what it is that I do. I thought before we get into all the specifics about the great activities about KRVC, the first thing I want to do is thank you because I was inducted into the Bronx Walk of Fame, and
Yay!
Laura has said, you know what, we ought to have a celebration. By the time this airs, the celebration will be over, but I wanted to publicly thank you for even thinking of it. And it's
It's our
going to be,
pleasure. We're so proud of you here in Riverdale and Kingsbridge and Van Cortlandt Village, and we want to have a day to celebrate you.
well, we're doing that. Nonetheless, I'm just curious because I don't even know if we've ever had this conversation before. Um, so you grew up in the Bronx, right?
Yeah.
You grew
Yeah.
up like around 238th Street.
238th and Review Place, right
There
off of
it is,
Broadway.
right off of Broadway. What got you into this idea of doing this kind of work in the borough of the Bronx? Now, you established Four Bronx, right? That was
So I established Four Bronx. I am the founder of the Four Bronx Project. And, I just growing up in the Bronx, as many of us, go through, I saw a struggle from a very early age. And, I just wanted to dedicate myself to, helping as much as I could. So originally when we started, it was redirecting donations, which, we still are very active in that. And, we have now expanded to there's other branches of what we're doing, but the basis of this is really to provide resources to Bronxites. The Bronx is the best borough in New York City.
you won't get an
I've said it
argument
right
from
there.
me. There
Sorry.
you go.
Sorry, not sorry, but we are the best borough. And many times we're forgotten, right? We are the forgotten borough at times. And, I'm just doing my part to change that narrative and to put the Bronx first always.
You work with people like Lynn Corey, who does, some amazing giving work. Detail, and I think people would be interested in knowing this, detail some of the activities of Four Bronx before you got connected with KRVC and all these other organizations.
Right. So Four Bronx, we are the first point of contact for Four Bronx shelters here in the borough.
Shelters, did you say?
Shelters. So when there's a new move-in or there's families that don't have clothes for their children or diapers or feminine hygiene products, we are on it and we redirect donations. So I put a call out on social media, on our emails. Hey, does anyone have this? And, children size 4 girls, diapers, and, people just bring the veterans and people just bring it. And it's really our job. We've created this bridge from the greater Riverdale area to the rest of the borough, redirecting these resources. So we also throw events at various shelters here in the Bronx. We have collaborated with other organizations. We've put multiple community libraries, just different things like this to make sure, again, the Bronx deserves the best and they should have access to basic, necessities.
I'm going to ask you a question. I don't know if it's a stupid question or not. Does it make you feel better or worse? Better because you're giving something to people who have needs and you're really providing something, or worse because, there's probably an aspect of it that says that this particular work is never done.
So the work is never done. I will say that it makes me feel better. I lost my grandmother. She was the most important person to me. And although we didn't have much, she was always so generous and she would save like $5, $10 every week. And at Christmas time, we'd go on a big shopping spree and just buy socks and hats and scarves and, body wash for people living in the shelters through the school that I was going to at the time. So that was really my first taste for this. And, it just has brought me so much joy. And after losing her, especially, it's really helped me with my grieving process of losing her to keep this, because to me, it keeps her memory alive for me. Like everything I do is for her. As a matter of fact, the 4 Bronx project is like my ode to her. She's my muse. So the 4B in the 4 Bronx is the apartment that I grew up with her. So I take a little bit of what I learned with her in that apartment and I apply it to the borough.
I've known you for a long time. I don't know that I've ever heard that. And that is it's fascinating. It makes sense to me. And I also am sensitive to, especially in this closed virtual situation, I could see that your emotions changed a little bit when you were talking about her. There's something just wonderful and beautiful about that. I just
Yeah,
have to say
because
it.
unfortunately, when people pass away, it's like we speak less and less of them, and their memory starts to fade. So I possibly could not let that happen to her memory. So
And so what you do keeps that alive and
for
keeps that
me,
spirit alive.
yes,
Yeah.
it's just as much for me as it is for others. So
And
great.
so now I'm going to ask you this. I'll probably ask you this when I see you tomorrow night. But I believe my father was one of the founders of KRVC. He was one of
Yes,
the people who got Kingsbridge-Riverdale-Van Cortlandt
yes. And
Development
our associate
Association started.
director, Sherry Hall, told me this like 2 weeks ago.
And you didn't know. There you
No
go.
idea,
And then
1981.
And then, speaking of I mean, we're getting into real personal stuff here, but
Love it.
after my father passed, my mom felt that just like you feel that the work needed to go on, my mom felt that she needed to just carry on the work, and she got involved in KRVC as well. Um, so how did you get connected with KRVC, or was it just a natural thing through 4 Bronx and what you did?
No, actually, no. So I was a restaurant manager at the time when I started for Bronx, and
Oh, that's right. I forgot about
yes,
that.
and
Yes.
I was, I really started it out of a small business, and as the pandemic was winding down and the restaurants were reopening, I had to relocate this because thousands of people were being impacted by this. We've done collections for fire victims. I mean, you name it, we've done it, and I could no longer inundate the small business with this, but this was so great that I had to keep it going. So I connected with Tracy Shelton. Um, I had come in and
Former executive
former
director of,
executive director,
right?
and I volunteered here for years. And she officially brought me and the 4 Bronx Project into KRVC in 2022. And, it really opened the doors. It provided me now with a box truck and an office space and, storage units. And just, I do owe her and I thank her a lot for this.
We have a couple of projects that we are going to talk about that are coming up that are, just more wonderful stuff. But I guess it gave you more resources to do what you do, because KRVC and 4 Bronx are in sync with what your personal agenda is and was. Right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So let's talk about the first thing, and I've got it right here. Do you know what I'm going to show here?
I know, I see it.
This is Bomba.
Bomba.
This is Bomba. Tell us all what Bomba is, and fill us in. I've got the bag. I got the souvenir
So
bag.
Bomba is our baby. Bomba stands for the Bailey Avenue Merchants and Broadway West 238th Street Alliance. We are an alliance of around 20 small businesses. Bomba had started on Bailey Avenue back in
So it's
2021.
Bailey Avenue
Merchants and Broadway West
and
238th
Broadway
Street
West.
Alliance.
I see. Okay.
Yes. So we cover Bailey Avenue from 234th up to 238th, all those businesses there. We cover West 238th Street, all the way from 238th by Bailey Avenue, all the way down to the stairs. There's not many businesses there, but you have Kingsbridge Avenue.
You're talking about on 238th Street.
Yeah, so Bronx Ale House, Home BX, all the way. So we go all the way up. We have New Heights Printing that's on 238th and Bailey up the hill. That's the most east business we have on 238th. all the way over. And then we have Kingsbridge with Kingsbridge Social Club. We have Brass Box Cannabis Dispensary. And then we are Broadway, all the way up from 234th, all the way up to the Yonkers City border. So we are an alliance that represents these businesses.
I mentioned to you that I had walked by, because it is near Van Cortlandt Village where I live. I had walked by the corner of Bailey and 238th Street, and I saw people painting murals. This mural project is not just one wall. You've got a mural project going throughout neighborhoods, plural.
Yeah, absolutely.
All about it.
You know, I'm really grateful. We are very grateful for New York City Small Business Services for trusting and celebrating our merchant organizing skills here in the Bronx. And it's honestly a privilege, and it's just a real honor to be able to do this in my home. You know, Bamba is where I grew up, and it's just so special to me. It's the first thing that I accomplished as executive director here to bring back Bamba. Sorry to go back and forth, but we did set up Bamba in 2021. It was just Bailey Avenue. And it was successful. And then unfortunately, we lost the businesses to a fire that happened.
Oh, yes, that's right.
Remember that. So Bamba.
Oh, so you had actually started it before that fire.
Started in 2021. And that was my first taste of merchant organizing with her. The two of us did this together. We created great relationships with the merchants. And then you know, the businesses caught on fire and we lost many businesses. So it's, you know, that was 2021. Fast forward to 2024. I had written, this was the first, you know, application that I personally did to bring back Bamba, but not only to bring it back, to expand it to the 238th Street corridor as well as Broadway. Basically, these businesses are not covered by a bid, a business improvement district. The Kingsbridge bid ends 230, like Williams Funeral Home, a little bit more up. So these businesses are not covered, nor are they covered with the Merchants Association and organization. There was a void. So we came in to fill that void.
So, well, this is what I want to do. I want to just pursue this as a concept in relation to large business districts in the Bronx. So we're going to talk about that, and then we're going to get into specifics about some of the activities. So we got to take a break. We'll take a break. We'll be right back. Laura Levine-Pinedo is the executive director of KRVC, and she'll be with us on the Bronx Buzz right after this. Okay, back with you on the Bronx Buzz. I am thrilled that Laura Levine-Pinedo is here with us. She's the executive director of KRVC. So we were just talking about you highlighting a section of, let's say, 238th Street and up the block. What is fascinating to me, because look, you got White Plains Road over there, near Allerton and Pelham Parkway. You've got Southern Boulevard. We've got even the 231st Street business district. These are famous districts. When people say, well, wait a minute, 238th Street in Bailey, they wouldn't the general public may not know it, but you doing that treats them like they are a big business district, and of course helps businesses who are just working hard trying to. You're right. I just think it's a really good thing. I wish we had it on all KRVC type things on all of the neighborhoods in the Bronx. Right.
It's just very interesting because each corridor, right, it's broken into three: 238th, Bailey, and Broadway. Each have their own set of issues. For example, Bailey, they're rebuilding after the fire. Tili La, which is like our business leader on that corridor, just reopened a few months ago. They're still, getting back into the groove of things. So that's Bailey Avenue. 238th Street, right? There's just different issues, parking. There's lighting issues. There's different things like that those merchants are concerned with. There's also like potholes and things in the street that's affecting them. And then of course, Broadway, it's been on the news everywhere, the MTA construction. So we have about 9 businesses on Broadway that only have 8 feet of clearance, but they're covered by a huge fence. So you visually cannot see them. There's no parking. There's just a big fence blocking them.
If I wasn't rooted to this chair, I would stand up and applaud, because for those businesses, no less important than, let's say, a business, let's just use White Plains Road or down on Southern Boulevard, no less important than those businesses, but those businesses are covered by a bid. There's generally a steady stream of people who go in there because they know it's a big shopping district. And here we are treating small business owners with the kind of respect that they are due and that they need, because they're just trying to run a business. And of course, it helps local communities, right? I mean, this to me is what this is all about. It's gosh darn exciting. I think so let's go back to the mural project. So
Okay.
I saw that one mural project being done on a block that doesn't get a lot of attention.
Absolutely.
You did a mural on the right across the street from your offices on 235th Street, which I believe we did do a segment on, because it's an absolutely beautiful mural with birds and nature and everything else. What's the plan and how does this work?
So the mural is very special to me. Again, it's on my street that I grew up on. So to bring this there, the people are so appreciative. They are so excited.
You count me as one of those people.
I really had this idea to do interactive murals. I think that's really fun. It's very trendy, and it attracts people to these corridors. So this mural that we have on Bailey and 238th, I would like to shout out our muralists. We have hired local muralists. So we have Lisa Sanfelice. She's a North Riverdale resident. If you've ever been on Moshlu Avenue, she has done the boards and the windows for many of those merchants over there. She's very well known over there. And then we have Ian Sullivan, a Riverdale resident, born and raised here in Riverdale. And he comes and he does all like this amazing work. He's done the Friendly Fridge mural. So it's all very connected. Lisa, her job as Lisa is the lead muralist. She did the butterfly wings. So if you go to our mural, you can stand in the middle of the wings. My idea was,
that's fascinating. Yeah,
the community is balanced, right? So what makes us different? We have a park, green space, nature, more so than many other places, right? It's amazing here in the Northwest Bronx and Cortlandt. So half of the wing of the butterfly is all the nature, the tortoise and the hare. We have, the trees, the park. The other wing is all business, business district, people walking by, drinking a milkshake, and how those two aspects balance this community. So that was my idea for that part. And then Ian, we have symbols on the wall, shop local. So we don't have names of businesses, but we have like a rotisserie chicken for Claudie's Kitchen. We have a pizza for Kingsbridge Social Broadway Joe's. We have a steak for Home BX and Jake's. So every business has like a little icon, and then you can go and stand there, and there's like 2 shopping bags where you can stand against the wall like you're shopping. So
The other thing is they're not shy about saying what it's about, because I was there watching him paint the words "shop local."
oh, you
And
saw that. Okay.
well, the words aren't there yet, but I tried to make out what it was that he was
Yeah,
doing.
no, now it's completed.
The,
Ian,
the other
it's very quick.
the other thing that really, to me, closes the circle, and as you know, I did participate in these merchant tours that you do. Explain what you have done, and then, of course, there's something coming up, isn't there?
So we host monthly merchant meetings. The merchants come once a month. We share, go around to different places so they can see the other businesses. Because many times running a business, you don't have the opportunity to see another business. You're at yours all the time. So we have our monthly merchant meetings. We've done a Taste of Bomba tour where we had a tour bus come from Riverdale down there, and we went business to business and we had samples of their food. So it was all free for people to join. I think it was a great time. We had a full turnout despite it snowing. I couldn't believe it. Everyone got that tote bag like you saw, and it was just a really great time. The merchants have told me that people have returned as customers. We hosted a Broadway night at Home BX, an off-Broadway Broadway night. So he is the leader for the 238th Street corridor, so he's extremely active. And shout out to Norman and Ben from Home BX. They're awesome. And and we have a Bomba Fest, Gary, on June 8th.
I was waiting for you to say that, because
We are
want to tell
closing
people
down the street. We have applied for a SAPO as of today. We're all looking good for it. So fingers crossed, we're good. It is the first time, I believe, that this has happened with the small businesses down there.
You don't have to believe it. That's true. That is the first time that has happened.
The first time. So we are going to have our merchants tabling. I can't give all the details away, but I will tell you that we're going to have an oyster table. That's what I'm hearing. We are going to
We're not giving you details, but there will be an oyster table.
I will name some businesses, just a little teaser. We're going to have Kingsbridge Social Club. We're going to have Bronx Ale House, Home BX Steakhouse, Monomore Cafe, Claudie's Kitchen, Tilila, and
all my favorite places.
Yes, and they're coming and they're going to be selling their food. It's going to be like a street, a street fair, like a food expo. But we also have rented a 25-foot rock climbing wall.
Wow.
So kids of all ages can have fun. We have a stage. We have 2 bands that are coming.
Wow.
So we have Luis Vagabundo.
Is that the Sunday, June 8th thing?
Sunday, June 8th. So we have Luis Vagabundo, who does the music in many of our Bomba merchants. He's doing an hour of Latin music. We're going to do salsa in the streets. And then we have Morsania Band Project doing Motown and all the hits of the decades to close out the show.
And where is that stage? Where is that going to be?
So we are shutting down 239th Street between Broadway and Review Place.
Wow.
There's like a little park there. I don't know if you've seen, it's across from the car dealership.
Yep.
So we're shutting down by the Gulf Station. So we're shutting that down, and it's face painting, games. It's going to be a really great show.
And you know what is great about these, and as you know, I did attend one. Number one, the food was great. I really enjoyed, as you know, and it was a snowy day. We were standing there, but it was well attended. People were just very determined to go through there.
What can I tell you, Gary? In Riverdale, we like to eat.
And well, listen, and Kingsbridge and Van Cortlandt.
We love our food over here. So.
But that really is a special thing, and what makes it special, it's never been done before. These businesses have been there, have been dedicated to the Bronx, have invested into the Bronx, and now they get a chance to do that. So that is Sunday, June 8th, beginning what time? We're all
Sunday, June 8th is from 2 to 5.
Wow, fantastic.
So we are very rain or shine. So we're very excited.
Fantastic.
And we have some, we did a community cleanup for Bomba. So we had student volunteers come and clean the corridors. And we're going to be doing some plantings from now until June with our murals. So just trying to beautify the corridor.
This is the best. Wait, where's my Bomba bag? I got my Bomba bag, which I used today, as a matter of fact. This is the best of the Bronx. Look, one more event I want to talk about. You've got Riverdale Celebrates Pride 2025. That is also coming up.
That is on June 1st, so it's this Sunday, in a few days. Yes, we
Okay.
just, we don't rest over here. We just bang it out back to back. But Riverdale Celebrates Pride 2025 is June 1st at the Riverdale Neighborhood House from 2 to 5. We have a robust run of show. We have drag performances. We have over, at this point, 50 community organizations
Wow.
tabling, giving out resources and giveaways. We have children's activities. I mean, body glitter, hair gems, personalized. You can make your own tote bag. We have a caricature artist coming. So it's all free, with the exception of our market. So we have many vendors coming to sell their treasures, but everything else is totally free and open to the community. And, it's just really an honor again to celebrate inclusivity in our community.
And celebrate who we are. Well, now we've learned one other thing unstated about Laura Levine-Pinedo. She never gets to sleep. She is just working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on all of these things. I guess the last question I have for you, Laura, is what's the vision for the future? Something new coming up? Is something you want to give us a hint that's going to be happening? Because I know your mind never stops working.
Never stops.
Never stops, and you're thinking of the next things. What's next for KRVC?
So, I have to say, Gary, it is, you see me a lot, but I have an amazing team behind me.
That's very
And
important.
an amazing group of volunteers. And this is what makes the magic happen. I always say that. So I really just want to shout them out. It's definitely a team effort. I never sleep. I don't.
I was right. Yeah, I knew. I said it. Yeah.
I really think the most valuable thing that we do is the small business spotlights. It's brought so much business and traffic to our small businesses. So we're just going to continue that. I think my personal goal is just to really make our area like a tourist destination for people. There's so many things here in this area and so many attractions that people don't even know. And I think we have such a treasure what we have here. And I just want to showcase it for people to see.
Kingsbridge,
Riverdale.
Riverdale, then
And
Cortlandt.
Cortlandt.
Right? Because listen, let's face it, Riverdale gets a lot of attention,
Yeah.
and Kingsbridge and Van Cortlandt are, like stepchildren, so to speak. But you are really highlighting it. Laura Levine-Pinedo, I love you. I love what you do, and it's going to be after this is broadcast, but I will be there tomorrow night, and I can't thank you enough for that and everything else that you do.
And thank you for your support, Gary. I appreciate it. Thank you.
And so KRVC, just look them up. What's the website, or how do they
So
get?
our Instagram is at KRVC. If you want to know what 4 Bronx is doing, it's at Laura, the number 4 Bronx. And our website is 505bx.org.
You're the best. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Gary and BronxNet.
Laura Levine-Pinedo from Kingsbridge-Riverdale-Van Cortlandt Development Corporation. And that's it. If the curtain don't fall and the creek don't rise. Yep, I'll be here next week.